Hey guys, what's up? This is Stosh for DragtheBar.com. Today we have a special PowerPoint video that's going to be several videos long. It's called Inside My Poker Notebook, Live Poker Notes from an Online Player. We're going to be talking about live poker from an online poker player's perspective, just some of the things I've seen in my time playing live poker since Black Friday. Helping me during this entire series, I'm very grateful that he's joined me, is Hunter Bick. Thanks for being here.
No problem, man. Great I'm pumped about the series. It's going to be a good one.
It is going to be a good one. It's I think there's a lot of really good stuff in here. During my time playing live poker, I kind of just kept my Android phone with me the whole time, and I would just take kind of massive amount of notes about weird stuff that I saw or things that caught me off guard, and I think this whole series can be very beneficial to anyone looking to play live poker who's come from an online poker background.
Hey, Sasha, how many months straight were you playing live?
I mean, once Black Friday happened, I obviously I quit online poker kind of cold turkey for quite a while. Let's see, so maybe like 5 months, like solid of live poker.
Nice, that's a strong sample.
Yeah, but I'm back playing online now, like full time. But after Black Friday, I didn't know which way was up, which way was down. I was kind of blindsided by that.
Yeah, man, I hear you. So was that. We all were.
Yeah. So now
perfect.
I'm kind of putting my online, my live poker career is kind of over, which is fine with me. I'd much rather be playing online. So I think to wrap it up and just give my experiences back to the Drag the Bar community, and I think you looked over the PowerPoint a little bit, thought it was good. I thought there was a whole lot here, so.
Oh, I think it's gonna be really great. I think it's gonna be super helpful for for online guys looking to play live.
Yeah. All right, so. Let's see here. Just a note about this series. The advice given in this presentation is primarily geared towards the common 2-5 or 5-5 full ring no limit game found in the casinos. Although some of the concepts may apply at the stakes directly below it, 1-2, and directly above it, 5-10. Not the crazy 1-1 games in the Los Angeles casinos. That's kind of a shout out to a buddy of ours who plays in the Los Angeles casinos a bit, and he would always tell me about those games, so I just wanted to throw that in. They sound
this isn't like crapshoot, Betty jackpot base
where it's 20 big blinds, like normal poker,
Exactly.
Yeah. So so I played a lot of those in the 2-5 and 5-5 games, and some in the 5-10, but I live in Pennsylvania. I don't live in like Vegas or anything, so there isn't like an amazing amount of game selection for like 5-10 or 10-20. Like a lot of times there might just be like one table at most, or no tables of 5-10 or 10-20. So I played a lot in the 2-5 and 5-5 games. So most of the stuff in this presentation will be geared towards there. Hunter, how much experience do you have in those type of games?
I gotta have a few hundred hours.
That's solid.
At least. I mean, most of it would be. I think 2-5 would be the minimum I've played live, and then quite a bit at like 5-10, like deep games. Like I played a lot of the 5-10 at the Wynn, Bellagio, and Caesars, which was my personal favorite.
Nice. Okay.
But so a pretty decent sample.
Oh, nice. I mean,
definitely not as much as you though, but definitely decent.
Well, I mean, you have probably more experience. I mean, like 5-10 and 10-20. 5-10 that didn't run at all at the casino I mostly played at, and at my secondary casino definitely did, but I wouldn't go there as much as my primary just because it was a little bit farther.
I mean, I'd always rather play in a good like 2-5 or 5-5 than even a okay 5-10. I mean, because the difference can be pretty dramatic, and a good 2-5 game. I mean, they're gonna be big pots. I mean, people are gonna have stacks of a few K, very often. So you can win you can win a lot, and usually it's a little looser of an atmosphere, and people are a little more willing to put the chips in the middle.
I definitely agree with that. Okay, let's see. Another note before we jump into it. While this series of videos will deal with live poker from an online player's perspective, it will contain very little information on live tells, just because this subject has been covered a million times in various other videos or books, and flat out I just don't consider myself all that knowledgeable on the subject other than the basics. I mean, I'm sure most people know the basic live tells, so I don't really need to get into that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple good tell books out there. The Mike Carroll book jumps out. There's another one, Joe Navarro with Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah, the Phil
Good
Hellmuth
one.
one.
Read 'em and Reap. That was a good one. Those two, I think, would cover it all. But the obvious stuff like someone looks at their cards and they sit up in their seat and all of a sudden interested. Or
yeah, they're sitting there eating dinner and then all of a sudden they straighten up and are reeling.
Exactly.
I mean, stuff like that. I mean, past that, I'm not gonna be. I don't really know all that much of the live tells, so
definitely not an expert on it.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near an expert. I didn't play live poker for all that long that I would.
There's plenty of information, whereas like you don't need to be relying on. In my opinion, you don't need to be relying too heavily on like physical tells. I mean, there's so much information out there that in a live game that's,
right.
Your edge is big.
Right. Okay, so I just wanted, don't expect there to be a ton of information on stuff like that for anyone watching the video. We'll touch on it if it comes up, but other than that, I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to be talking about stuff like that. Alright, so, moving along. Chapter 1, Technical Adjustments in Hand Reading and General Strategy. So, Chapter 1, this will be Chapter 1. Chapter 2 is just like general observations, which I thought turned out pretty excellent. And first chapter is more hand histories and stuff that happens at the live poker tables from a technical standpoint that caught me off guard or I took note of for one reason or another. All right. Okay, so my first thing that one of the first things that I noted. Semi-bluffing frequencies of an average live player are shockingly low. Many times I've thought that a live player is in such a great bluffing barreling spot, so his range is somewhat wider as is customary online. But I've been proven wrong on a regular basis. They are just playing their actual cards. You will encounter an overall passive attitude by the vast majority of the regs. And this actually caught me off guard. There's a ton of technical aspects of play in live that where I would just be seeing people's ranges as one thing, and then they'd be something totally different. And it really did take me quite amount of time to come to the conclusion that I was judging people's ranges like totally out of whack. So something like this, where it would be like a spot where I would expect a person to be semi-bluffing and they weren't. It really caught me off guard, and it's just an adjustment I had to make.
Hey, Stosh, do you think that like just to like get inside the mind of someone who like never semi-bluffs like when they should? Do you think it's like a fear of getting check raised off of their draw, or they just don't know any better, or what do you think the thought process is there? If you can guess at it.
I don't know. They shouldn't be concerned about getting check raised off their draw, because like check raise bluffs in live poker are extremely rare, like for the most part, especially at a 2-5 setting or 5-5 setting. That maybe a 10-20, but I mean, I highly doubt that's happened to them a whole bunch of times. If they're getting check raised, I would imagine that it's for the most part for value. So
and probably not happening that often. In that
it's
case.
Not happening that often, so they really shouldn't be worrying about it. I think it's just I feel maybe they just have a fear of putting money into the pot without having the best hand. Would that make sense?
Maybe it's not without even having a hand, even though they really do because they have equity.
Right, but yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
times they aren't thinking of it from an equity standpoint. They're just saying like,
right.
I just have ace high, with a flush draw, so let's let's put money into the pot when I do have an actual made hand, and not, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. When I play live, I tend to bring my online game, for better or worse, and so I'm constantly. I mean, if it gets checked to me and I have any kind of draw, I'm betting.
Right.
And usually, that'll work for at least a couple of hours, and then people will eventually, get around to adjusting to it. But when I mean. That tends to be what I do anyway, which seems like the thing to do if most people aren't doing it.
Oh, absolutely. You should. I mean, it's so. I mean, there's no excuse not to. I mean,
Right,
if
exactly.
you have fold equity plus real equity, I mean, if you're in a spot where you actually don't have any fold equity because it's quite apparent the guy has like a big pair that he's never folding or a set or something, then okay. No, because you have to have fold equity to make semi-bluffs work, but, I mean, most of the time people just have like a marginal made hand or some sort of marginal hand in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Semi-bluffing there's very few instances where semi-bluffing is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's almost always a good idea, unless the ranges are so narrow and you have no fold equity. Other than that, go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's take a look at a hand history of an example of what we're trying to get across here. Okay, so here's our hand history on the semi-bluffing frequencies that should hammer home the point I'm trying to make here. Normal 2-5 game, 9-handed, I believe. So we get a bunch of folds. We have this guy on the hijack, room regular is how I labeled him. He raises the 30. Just notice, opening raise size is larger, and it's not going to be just like a 3x raise. 5 or 6x is pretty common, wouldn't you say, Hunter?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so that's just
unless maybe old knit or the short stack opens. Then you might see like a $10 or $15 raise, but other than that,
right.
These other guys are definitely raising it higher than that.
Right. Okay. So
I love your names, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. We have Big Mouth, Good Player, Short Stack, Old Knit, Live Grinder, Wannabe, Room Regular, Random, and Joe Average. Joe Average is the hero in the hand, so.
So Joe Average makes the call with the 10-9, I'm guessing.
Yes, he does. 10-9 suited on the button, and 2 folds. We'll see it. Oh, there is some sort of bug in the replayer. Obviously, we should be seeing a flop right now. It says check, and
we'll get that corrected.
Right. So I mean, we'll ignore that. So
yeah.
Hijack open, button call. Everybody else folds. $67 in the pot. We flop flush draw here. C-bet out of room regular, and call out of Joe Average.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Average is never ever raising here, even though he probably should.
Yeah, it's not likely.
That's not in his arsenal of plays.
No, Joe Average is call. Like these guys, poker players in general, even like low stakes online players, I feel like when they go through their thought process of how they think about poker, if they're in a spot like Joe Average is here right now, they think, number 1, call. Number 2, our option is fold. And then, like, way down the list is raise. Like,
yeah,
and raise
exactly.
raise should be, like, considered a lot more heavily than an average person thinks.
I mean, it should be like call is like 1A maybe, and raise is like 1AA or 1AB or something, like right next to call.
Right. And, and in their thought process, it definitely is call, fold, and then like a few lines down, it's just blank space, and then raise.
That's a great way of putting it, yeah.
They don't think that for some reason. So, Joe Average makes a call here like all Joe Average players would. 7 of hearts here on the turn. And one thing I do notice is